rock fans from all around the world, wherever you are, welcome to the end of the year show. It's MPJ time, and it's rock album review time, and the gang are all here. Well, apart from two who are out Christmas shopping. Christmas shopping.
They're not all here.
Needs to be done. You know, a happy wife, happy life, as they say. But we're here, and as I mentioned before, this is like the. This is like Ghostbusters, where the streams cross, the heavy and the lighter side, all kind of light and dark, all kind of come together. And if you've not seen it before, we're going to quickly introduce. Welcome to the show, and thank you very much to top left hand corner, Paul Matthews. Welcome, Paul. To Lauren Coombs, who's now celebrating over a year with us on the podcast. Welcome.
Luscious Lauren.
To one of our founding members, it's Simon Reed. Welcome, Simon. Crack on.
Smooth Simon.
To our social media goddess, who looks after us and organises everything behind the scenes in terms of interviews and posts. And I just want to say at this moment, because I will forget, thank you ever so much, Trish, for all your wonderful hard work behind the scenes for me and the crew.
Welcome.
So welcome, Patricia White. I've come up to 2 years, nearly now, I think, isn't it? Chris Cully. Chris Cully's been with us on the show. Welcome to Chris.
Hello.
Cully.
And from Holland, because we're going truly international, and celebrating his first year with us, it's Peter Spike.
Representing the Netherlands.
Welcome, Pete, and of course another founding member. It's William Hall. Welcome, William Hall.
Hi.
Hi. So, what is this show about? Well, we last year reviewed 166 albums last year across around about 16 albums a year. One lot did about 8, the other lot did about 8. We got to 166 at the end from that perspective. And we rate albums out of 5. And our top rated 10 albums, actually it was 11 because it was a joint kind, automatically make it into our album of the year shortlist. And then we all then pick a band, a wild card from the other bands that are rated 4 or more. So we end up with 20 albums. We end up with 21, but we're going to we'll do a joint 20th because we don't want a 21st album. We want top 20. So on that score, and then we put them all together, and then we vote for our top 15, and then the album with the most votes will become our album of the year. So typically in the past, Visions of Atlantis have won within Black, within Temptation, and some really Beyond the Black, and so some really kind of winners. It's the 4th year we've done it, so it's all pretty exciting really as well. So who are the runners and riders then from that sort of the automatic slot went well. And so we're going to keep an eye out for these because these are the hot favourites. The albums are scored 4.8. And the first one was very much in the year, was with Linkin Park and their album From Zero. Now, I know what you're going to say, that was released in 2024. Yeah, right at the end of 2024, we had a cut-off. We started reviewing, and then we reviewed at the beginning of 25. So it's in our 2025 albums. Dorothy and The Way, Those Damn Crows and The God-Shaped Hole and The Amazons of the 21st Century. Those got 4.8, so therefore our hot favourite. But of course, 3 of those albums, for example, are from the lighter side. And maybe the darker side doesn't particularly like those sort of albums. So we'll kind of wait and see. After that, 3 Days Grace and Landmarks. 3 Days Grace, Alienation and Landmarks with The Darkest Place I've Ever Been. Both got 4.7. And then we had 2 that came in the last minute, which was Creeper and Seraina Telli, who got 4.6. Volbeat with God's Angels Trust. Babymetal with Metal Fourth. And Dropout Kings with Yokai. They made up the top 11 that automatically scored really highly during the album reviews. And then we picked our wild cards. So our wild cards were Klogr and Fractured Realities, which was Trish's, I Prevail and Violent Nature, which was Lauren's, Pop Evil, What Remains from me, Hot Milk and Corporation Pop by Andy, Bury Tomorrow, Will You Haunt Me with that same patience, and that was Pete's entry, Dominion Don't Die, which was Chris's, Sabaton and Legends by Will Rise Against a Ricochet by Paul, Brothers of Metal with Fimbulvinter by Simon, and Architects with The Sky, the Earth and All Between, which was Dom's entry. And we're going to go into a little bit more depth about those as we kind of run through that top 20 albums as well. So we're going to pause there and say, hey, everybody, hit the like and subscribe button. Go on and leave a comment below. If what were your top albums, or maybe let us comment about the albums that that we've kind of listed from that score as well. Right, so the countdown then of albums of the year. As I say, I'm not going to have a 21st album or somebody doing a top 20. The bottom two, basically, I'm going to say that they had a joint one. So the first one of those two albums that were in 20th place and therefore in our top 20. The first one was Dropout Kings and Yokai, which bizarrely, interestingly, was one of the favourites because it got a 4.7. It was our joint 7th album of the year. And the only person that put it into his top 5 was Simon. Simon, you put this in your top 5, but what was so good about it from your perspective then that made your top 5?
Oh, it's just a really fun, great album. It really surprised me as well when it was on the when it was on the list to be reviewed, just because not really heard them before. And there's just it's just really cool. And there were lots of really good references on there to other bands and stuff in that one particular track. I just thought it was really good. I thought it was really fun. I'm surprised that it got so low a score. I didn't expect it to be top, but someone has to be. Someone has to be at the bottom, I suppose. But
it's very interesting, isn't it? Because we've been saying all year that the standard of albums, I think it was so high this year, so high. I think Will said, it was but the last 5, I really just didn't really care what I was giving points to. So, which is a bit different from 10 albums not caring about what album the points are going to go to. So there's definitely an improvement there as well. So, joint 20th position was Klogr and Fractured Realities. So that was Trish's your wild card and your top 5. It was joint 22nd with a 4.4. So why this is your wild card, by the way?
Oh, well, I love the band. I've been to see them a couple of times. We've interviewed them, and just his voice is just the gruffness of it. And Lead Wings, my favourite track on the album. Yeah, I'm sorry it didn't do better, but at least it's in there.
Yeah, I mean, I it's one of those albums, isn't it, that you kind of get to, if you listen to it once or twice, you don't really get it. But his voice, because his voice is rough, but his musicality is probably, I think personally, one of the best singers I've heard all year. In that perspective, but it's obviously heavy melodic kind of rock as well. So you need a kind of few listens to get into, don't you? It's not like your Babymetal where it's just off. Wow, it hits you in the face. It's a grower of an album, Klogr. So, but yeah. So, okay.
It's good to remember that we did review those 166. So.
Oh God, yeah, no, it's
in the scheme of everything. It's still a fantastic album.
It's very interesting because, as I say, it was our joint 22nd album of the year anyway, with a 4.4. So it's a terrific album. Let's be honest about it. Any album in this top 20 is fantastic. I mean, literally is fantastic. So. Okay, well, actually, Pete will smile at the next one because in 19th place is Volbeat and Gods of Angels Trust, which again was one of the favourites. It was a joint 7th 4.6 album, and it was Paul. It was your top 5. But before Paul, we'll have a rebuttal because Pete didn't review Volbeat, and he's very pleased about it because he was raging about how much he hates Volbeat. You hate Volbeat, is that right, Pete?
I mean, you should all be pleased that I was not there to review Volbeat because we would have been here until 2026 by the time I get done talking about how shit I think Volbeat is.
Well, gladly, he didn't review the album, Paul, because actually it was a bloody good album. But I don't think maybe it was as good as their previous one, which I think finished in our top 10 previously. So. Top 5 even.
Second, wasn't it? Was it? Robbed by Visions.
You're
And
probably,
I all by
right.
wearing
Yeah, you're right.
of
Yeah,
Mrs.
you're right.
Units.
You're right.
They are a bunch of pirates.
Paul, you picked this as your top 5?
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like you said, it wasn't as good as the previous album. I thought some of the songs were a bit weak in it, but I just love the singer, and I love I just love the music as well. So I think they changed the guitarist, and I think that had a bit of an influence. Whereas the previous album had this this how can you say, like this Cthulhu vibe going through it, and it wasn't so much in this one. It was just was weaker, and therefore it wasn't as strong, which is a shame really, but I still liked it a lot.
It was a good album, wasn't it? It was a good album. Okay, in 18th place was Pop Evil and What Remains, which was my wildcard and my top 3. And Cully, your top 5. Bizarrely, it was our joint 12th album with a 4.5, which is just outside the automatic slots. Cully, you liked the album? Top 5 for you?
Yeah, so I think it was around the right time for me in the year to be able to listen to it. So I had notes up for it, and I've got the wrong ones. But yeah, so it just kind of hit in the right place. It had a really high score when we were going through the year. So I kind of kept most of my scores from earlier in the year, and then listened to the new albums that we hadn't heard from the other stage alongside those, and basically scored everything together. So it was just, through the year, one of the better albums that I think we listened to.
I loved it. The reason I put it as my wildcard is I like diversity, but only when it's done really well. And for me, these guys had a tiny bit of metalcore in there. They had a bit of kind of pop rock. They had a little bit of indie. It was just a bit of everything, and they did it ever so well. And one of the songs, the butcher, the butcher's got the knife or something like that. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. We almost got to my song of the year as well. So it's a cracking album. Okay, just ahead of that, literally by a point, is 17th place is Dominion and the Dead Don't Die. Bizarrely, this was one of the outsiders, because it actually only it was our joint 60th. It crept in with a 4. But it was Cully's wild card. Cully, why this for you? Why was this your wild card?
So partly it was my wild card because back in January it was one of those albums that I almost gave a 5 to, but didn't quite. And there was a small amount of, given that we reviewed it almost 12 months ago, the stuff in the early part of the year usually kind of gets forgotten. So I kind of wanted to keep it in there as a, let's just remind everyone of what we were listening to back in January. It was mostly the lively energy to it, and there's some tracks in there that just feel utterly relentless from start to finish. It's just driving forward constantly and consistently. I really liked it. One of Us and the title track was just the ones that really kind of stuck home with me, and I've been listening to it throughout the year as well. So yeah, it's kind of kept me interested in Dominum, and I want to listen to some more.
Yeah. Okay. It didn't make anybody else's top 5, so it got a lot of kind of sort of ticking over points through the through there as well. Okay.
Well, there's no account for taste.
Well, I know, but there we go. In 16th place is. Go ahead, Paul.
I was just going to say I enjoyed the album as well. It's just it was up against some really serious competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
definitely.
No, I enjoyed it too.
In 16th place is 3 Days Grace and Alienation, which again was one of our favourites, guys. They're falling by the wayside. 4.7, and yet, even though it's 16th place, only Andy didn't give this points. Only Andy. We all give it points apart from Andy. But it's a cracking album, isn't it? But it just, I think it sits in the middle. Between kind of that really heavy and kind of heavy lighter side. So it kind of was up against serious competition on both elements. And I think it kind of suffered for that because it was across the kind of board sort of album. And really, it didn't make anybody's top 5 either. So, and I think there was a lot of votes for it just below that, between 5th and 10th. But it got a consistent amount of points from that perspective as well. So It's a shame, really, because it's a real cracker of an album. But as we keep saying, the competition this year was incredibly, standard was really, really high. So well done to 3 Days Grace. However, right. So that's how now we're into our top 15 albums, and we have a joint 14th place on that score. So joint 14th place. So the first of those was I Prevail and Violent Nature, which was Lauren's wild card and top album. And it, just to kind of, I Prevail was again one of our outsiders, joint 41st for the year, 4.1. But Lauren, this was your album.
Yeah, it for me it just hit at exactly the right time, and I think as well, personal experience that played into it too. Because of course, like if you go back and watch the video where we recorded our review for it, like I had that experience in Germany based around the album and everything. For those who haven't seen it, basically I was at Essen working, going through the crowd, headphones on, trying to just get back to my stall. And a lovely, very tall German chap saw the album cover over my shoulder as I was flicking through my phone, and then we ended up having a big conversation about how good it was. That, and one of my favourite sort of ways of saying it that Cully always uses is it was the right album at the right time. It just hit at such a good point for me, and I think overall the balance of it is superb. It just scratches an itch in my brain. I could talk about it for hours. I just absolutely adore it. And yeah, I'm definitely going to be going out of my way to try and go see them. So yeah, absolutely loved it. Loved it.
Cool. And it's definitely a switcher, isn't it? Because like in years past, metalcore albums, apart from the odd one like Future Palace and stuff, have not done particularly well. But this year, obviously with the advent of Pete joining us, they seem to be doing better this time around, isn't it? So joint 14th place is another one of our favourites, and one of our hot favourites, which was Dorothy and The Way, which was in Andy's top 3. It had a 4.8, and again, only 3 people didn't give this point. So does anybody want to say? Because for me, one of the surprises of the year was Dorothy and her voice. It was just incredible. Her voice was one of the, I think, for me, probably one of the standout female vocalists of the year from that perspective. And what was a nice surprise was you, Will. You'd give this some good points, really, wasn't it?
I think
surprising.
I think I was saying to you in the office yesterday that this was the last album I willingly gave points to. It's because I saw Hailstorm a few weeks ago, and her voice and style of music really reminds me of Hailstorm and that kind of female-led like American rock music.
Yeah.
And it was just really cool, and I liked it a lot. So I gave it the privilege of being my last willing vote.
Was willing vote. Okay, that's fair enough then. Right, so in 13th place, we're fast approaching top 10 time. In 13th place was Hot Milk and Corporation Pop. Didn't quite make the top 10. Andy's wildcard. Lauren, no surprise following your entry to Song of the Year. It was both you and Andy's in your top 5. What stood out for you that just made your top 5 album?
I just loved the sequencing of it, because again, like I sort of touched on in our Song of the Year show, 2 songs in particular on that album I absolutely adore. There are a few other ones as well. But Insubordinate England, and then followed by it's the one about the US. The name escapes me. However, the way they work in tandem is absolutely fantastic. And one of my favourite things as well is if you get a British sort of rock metal band, and as they're singing, you can hear their accents and everything. So, like, even in my top song choice, like the whole sort of section of her going, "Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough," sort of thing. Little things like that. And I think there was just some brilliant storytelling in it as well. I really enjoyed it, and it came as a real surprise. And I can say that in general for quite a few of the albums this year. There's just been a really lovely journey of discovery with some of the stuff this year. Because I've had stuff where I've listened to it and I've gone, cool, I know what I'm getting. And then other stuff where it's just slapped me around the face and gone, go on, give it a go. and I've adored it. But yeah, Hot Milk has been one of those where I'm like, nice, definitely one to watch in my catalogue. Yeah,
I think it's definitely probably the one incredibly humorous message through that one in terms of tongue in cheek. Yeah, absolutely. It was a cracker an album, wasn't it? It was a good fun. It was one of the nice surprises this year, I think, for me as well, in terms of uncovering that band. So anyway, well done to Hot Milk. Okay, in 12th place, one of another mighty hot favourite falls, and that's the Amazons and the 21st Century Fiction. It was again our joint #1 album in terms of ratings. And my top 5, Paul and Andy's top 3. Paul, put this in your top 3 albums.
Yeah, I liked it when it came out. I liked the fuzz guitar effect that was going through it. I liked the fact that they were just about to produce an album, release an album, and the guitarist came across this sound and they ditched the whole album to redo it. But it was quite a mature album for a bunch of young lads, really. But no, I liked it a lot. But yeah, I'm glad it got this high.
Well, I think for me, it's probably the standout indie rock album of the year. It was phenomenal. It made my top 5. And my top 5 could have kind of gone either way, really, at the end of the day. It's one of my favourite albums of the year. I think it's absolutely superb. Absolutely superb. I kind of loved it as well. And again, you know, and when you look at the raving that say Lauren did for this album, but he didn't quite make a top 5, and my God, she raved about this album, you know, when we reviewed it. Yeah, so was it in your top 5? I maybe did note that as well. Okay, I missed that out. My apologies. So okay, yeah. So why did you put this in your top 5, Lauren? He says, pretending he kind of knew that was all along.
Again, I think it was. I remember listening to it in the car with you on like the way. It was either the way to or from UK Games Expo, because you were like, "Oh, how much of the list have you listened to so far for this month?" And I was like, I'm about halfway through it, and this was the next one on the list for me to listen to. And he went, "Oh, we're putting it on. You're listening to it right now. I need to know what you think," and put it on, and it was just superb. I think I remember at the time saying how, like, it was very much what I wished Catfish and the Bottlemen sounded like that development on from that sound. Again, I really love there's different threads and veins of other genres in it. So you got like Love is a Dog from Hell and all that sort of stuff, where it's got a little bit of that like country sort of vibe to it. And I just think they did really well with picking up different genres and little spits and spats and going, do you know what? Here's a flavour. This is what we do really well, but let's give it a little bit of twang over here. And I think they did brilliantly at it. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I can't remember the female artist they invited on there. Her voice was fantastic as well. I wish it was more on there. It would have made it a better album, I think. But yeah.
Well, we came to a top 10. Pete must be quite happy here, because Pete's hardly said anything, because it would seem that his top 5 are all in the top 10, Pete. So
you read my bloody mind. I'm sitting here like, this is going rather well for metalcore.
I know. It's yes, very much so. Very much. Okay. In joint 10th place, we don't have an 11th place. We're now in our top 10. We have now hit our top 10 albums of the year, because there is an 11th, because we got 2 albums that got on joint first place. The first of those is Sabaton and Legends, which was Will's wild card. Joined 32nd album, 4.2 is Will and Simon's top 3. And fun fact, when we rated them, Will and Simon both missed the bloody podcast when we reviewed Sabaton. I mean, you know. So now is your chance, boys, to exonerate as to why. Well, first of all, Will, this is your wild card. No shocks there, and your top 3.
Hello, I quite like Sabaton. You may have noticed on my very subtle clothing change that I did when I closed my curtain. Yeah, I've loved Sabaton since, like, I think 2014 now. They've been my favourite band since then, before Electric Callboy became along and became then. So they're like very firmly my second favourite band of all time. They're so good. It's such a cool album. The storytelling of each one going through the history of all these great historical figures like Vlad the Impaler, Hannibal Barca. It's such a cool album. Simon and I were lucky enough to see them a couple weeks ago, playing at the O2, and Christ, it was one of the best shows I've ever been to. It was utterly phenomenal. These people are true artists, and every song that comes out of this band is, in my opinion, an absolute work of art. They're so cool, so special. It just makes me happy. I like it.
And
History's cool.
Simon, also your top 3 album of the year.
Yeah, it definitely grew on me. When I first listened to the album, I was like, oh, this is cool, this is good. But it's repeat listenings that's actually made me love it so much. And it's just, Templars is such an amazing track. Hordes of Khan. Yeah. Like, I think talking to you in the office about it, Nigel, like, yeah, it's not quite like their previous albums. But I appreciate that, like, they're trying something a little bit different. And yeah, I've really enjoyed the album.
There's only so much World War One album you can take, and 2 in a row was too much for me. So if it was a
World
third,
War Two, mate. Should have gone. World War Two was next on the
already
list.
done that.
Yeah, well, have they?
Coat of arms, mate. Coat of arms.
Oh, okay. I'll have to listen to that one.
Oh, war.
And for me, it's definitely it didn't make the top albums when the previous album came out, which is a shame because actually it turned out to be my album of the year. So there was a travesty of it not getting into the votes back then because we had a couple of idiots who just decided to vote it down. But anyway, so I'm absolutely delighted to see it in our top 10 albums of the year. In joint 10th place is Babymetal and Metal 4th, which was both in Pete and Simon's top 5. Pete gets to say something! Yay! Pete, top 5, Babymetal.
Yes.
Why?
Thank you. I suppose it's just a process of elimination, right? Of course, like first of all, the system is rigged. Like a lot of great albums that were released this year are not an option. But yeah, Babymetal, what they do is a lot of fun. So they deserve my votes. Like I can be short about it.
Okay, Simon, your top 5.
Yeah, what, Babymetal?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Funny that. I just announced it, Simon. They joined 10th place. There we go.
Yeah, sorry. Miles away. No, Babymetal's... Like I said, I think when we reviewed it, though, I said, like, it's not their best album that they've done, just because they've definitely, like, it's because it's just full of collabs and stuff. But it's still Babymetal. It's still good stuff. There's still loads of stuff on there, like Bloody Wood, Electric Callboy, and everything else. So yeah, it's a cool album. I wouldn't have expected it to win album of the year anyway, but maybe next year.
Of course, I've got a huge amount of amazing collabs on this album. They got the track with Paul to Prevail as well. A few others, like a lot of good collaborations on this album.
Can't believe Deathcore made it into our top 10.
I gotta say as well, because I hadn't listened to the Sabaton or Babymetal, and they were the two I was looking forward to. And Sabaton, it didn't have that thematic feel for me as the previous almost concept albums. It didn't carry the stories through for me. And Babymetal, I agree with Simon. It felt as if they were trying to be a lot more commercial. And I mean, Hot Chocolate is one of my all-time favorite songs from them, previously. So, but and it was a great album to listen to, but to carry on listening to it, it didn't quite get my marks in that respect.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it was very an eclectic album. Similar to us, you go from like this hardcore, deathcore kind of collab to more of a lighter collab, and therefore, as an album in repeat listening, I would, one and a half. If I just took half the album, it would be my album of the year. But the other half, nah. But it's terrific, and I don't particularly enjoy, or I can't relate to, kind of foreign kind of vocals, but it just didn't seem to matter with them. Even when they were singing in Japanese, it just didn't seem to matter in the slightest. And I thought it was a cracking album, wasn't it? Absolute cracker. But
honestly, would it really bloody hurt all of you people to learn a foreign language? Honestly, is it like physically painful to you
not at all.
Experience foreign languages?
But I'm not going to learn Japanese just to listen to Babymetal. I mean, as simple as that, really.
You call yourself a music podcast?
I know, right?
Defeated that, dude. Nice.
What can I say?
You get it well.
You either love me or hate me, and that's just the way I rock. But I'm not going to learn Japanese just to listen to Babymetal. There we go. Right, okay. In ninth place, now we get into that. Ninth place is Seraina Telli and her album Green, which was actually one of our highest rated albums. Joint 7th album of 4.6. Trish and Paul's top 5. Trish, big fan of Ms. Telli. Why your top 5?
Just this album, I think, was really quite a personal one for her and a journey. And she tried, different musics. There was a softer side. Just loved it.
And Paul, your top 5 as well.
Yeah, I mean, she got a fantastic voice. She's come a long way from Burning Witches, and I think her first solo album, she was trying to find herself. It wasn't quite there, but this one is a very mature, almost a mainstream album. It could be done by Pink or someone like that, but it was very, very strong. And as an overall album, it was there wasn't a weak song on there, I don't think. So I got to give it. So I had to give her the good marks. Just beat out for me. She's just beat out 3 Days Grace.
Interestingly, every person here, bar one, give this lady points.
It's an honourable mention for me. I never heard of her. I had to listen to it quickly because I haven't been here all year on this podcast. I was happily surprised by it.
Yeah, she's good, isn't she? Yeah. William was the only one not to get points. William was the only one, right at the death. I'm thinking Seraina Telli's going to get points from everybody, and then Will voted last and didn't give her any points. You heathen, William.
You leave my boy William alone.
The album was like a sad toot.
A sad toot.
to be ignored in my listening pleasure. No, it was... Nah.
Right.
Obviously they're good because they got to this point, but, when you look at my top 10 being like bar 2 entirely metalcore and very heavy, it's just not me.
No. Absolutely agree with you. Right. Wow. We are cracking on at a pace here. In 8th place goes to Landmarks and The Darkest Place I've Ever Been, which is joint 5th, one of our top metalcore albums of the year, 4.7. It was Dom's top album, but he's not here. So in his stead, we'll go to Pete. It was in your top 3, Pete. Why is this one of your standout albums out of the list that we give you?
Well, I've been familiar with Landmarks for some time, and it's one of those bands. There's another one in this list. I'll not spoil it too much. That has the same comment in a greater respect. But Landmarks is also the kind of band that just, to me, steadily keep getting better. Like every album they release, I feel is better than the last one. And so this one was definitely another gem. Deserves to be up here in the top 10. So well done, y'all.
No, it was, I mean, I think out of all the metalcore, this was almost the most listenable to out of all of the metalcore albums, but it was still metalcore. Right, in 7th place, we're in our top 7 now. Crikey, it's getting up there. In 7th place, and I think Paul would be very happily surprised, Rise Against and their album Ricochet. Paul, it was your wild card. It was a 4.3. It was in your top 3. It was also in Dom's top 5. Why Rise Against and Ricochet? You quite surprised that it's because normally your wild cards do shit, but this one did really well. So
Yeah, I mean, it almost, for me, it was almost the album of the year. We've listened to previous albums of them, theirs, and they've either tried to do like a live effect to it, or just what I would call a sloppy album just put together. But this was a totally different. There was every piece on every track was filled with music. There was no introductions, no intervals or anything like that. It was just bang on, solid songs all the way through, solid metal all the way through. And as an album, I mean, it was a complete album basically. It only came second to what I hope was going to win it, but it may be false hope. But yeah, it was for me it was a complete album, and this is what an album should be. It's just no weak points to it, nothing. It was an excellent album. So yeah, and I'm shocked that a lot of other people liked it as well. So.
It's a good album, isn't it? Simon, you made a comment about Rise Against. You were slightly disappointed by it, even because you're a bit of a fan. You said.
Sorry, blindsided. Sorry, I had to run away for a moment. Yeah, no, it was just. I don't know. I feel like they're an old band that needs to maybe have a rest for a while.
Well, a lot of us disagree with you, mate. A lot of us disagree with you. Seventh place. So
I agree with you, Simon.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I'm not saying they need to. I'm not saying they need to stop. I'm saying they should probably have a little break for a while, have a cup of tea, think about what they've been doing, come back with some fresh energy.
Yeah, I think they moved more to the light side, and the light side liked them, and they got 7th place. Okay, nearly into our top 5. In 6th place, Brothers of Metal and Fimbulvinter in 6th place. It was Simon's, Will's, and mine top 3 albums.
Yeah.
It was Simon's wild card, so we'll start with you, Simon. So please, you put in. I would have put this in if you hadn't put this in as your wild card. I'm glad you did. But what made this stand out for you, buddy?
Oh, I mean, it's an absolutely cracking album. I already love Brothers Metal anyway. One of my all-time favorite bands. And this album is just fantastic. It's got like a little bit of everything. You've got a bit of heavy stuff. You've got a bit of like, ballady stuff, a bit of slow stuff. It's just fantastic. I just love them. And after seeing them, me and Will went and saw them live this year. And that made me fall in love with them even more because they're just so much fun live. It's such a great band. If you ever get an opportunity to, I recommend going and seeing them because they're just great. And all their previous albums and everything else, they're just fantastic. I love them so much, and this album was really good. The other son of Odin, I think, was my absolute standout. Fimbulvinter is a good song, and Berserker as well. But I think the other son of Odin's my favourite one on there. But yeah, I just love the album.
Will, how about you?
It's so cool. I love, like Simon. I've listened to them since for their last 3 albums. And everyone just keeps getting cooler and better and more fun. Like, learning all this Norse mythology in such a hilariously fun way with goofy lyrics, fun songs. And, oh man, I'm just going to repeat exactly what Simon said, but I'm just saying it's really bloody cool.
Mm.
It is. It's the first, my first taste of Brothers of Metal, and when we first started getting that, and we got introduced to power metal was very much in the buzz, and it's kind of ways. There's a lot of power metal bands out there, and I don't think our level of you've got to be amazingly good now at power metal to really kind of break into our top kind of albums really. And obviously you've got Sabaton, which has done, and Brothers of Metal for me was just it was so close to get my top album. I absolutely love this album. Is it Taverns of Gold or Fields of Gold, which is just one of my all-time favourite tracks as well. I just absolutely loved it. Loved it. It was so. Yeah, because I don't like power metal bands that it's all a bit too much tongue in cheek. Their lyricism, there was tongue in cheek in it, but their lyricism had that air of I don't know, you could just transport and transport yourself to wherever they're singing from. I thought it was a blindingly brilliant album, absolutely brilliant, and very close to becoming my. It was very close to my album of the year, and I wish I kind of known them, but when when the tickets come on, so I will definitely be alongside with you the next time they come for sure. It's now, definitely from that one. Wow, top 5 albums, 2 of which are metalcore albums. One of which is a semi-metalcore album, a hint of metalcore in it. We've got Architects, we've got Those Damn Crows, we've got Linkin Park, we've got Creeper, and we've got Bury Tomorrow, all vying for our number 1 album of the year. Lots to talk about. So we'll be back after the short break. No, we won't. So, right, our top 5 albums of 2025 that we have reviewed. In 5th place is Bury Tomorrow, and you will haunt me with that same patience. Great title, really, wasn't it? Pete, this was your wild card. Also, your top album, Dom's top 3, and Trish and Will's top 5. Pete, let's start with you then. Your wild card. Why was this wild card yours? Was it because there was nothing else? Because Lorna Shore didn't quite make the cut? Or what?
Lorna Shore, yeah.
Let's stick the knife in. There we go. Because we rigged it.
There's
We
no
rigged it, and
Lorna
Lorna Shore didn't get into top 5 top albums. But there we go.
So yeah, obviously Lorna Shore's I Feel the Everblack Festering Within Me is album of the year. It has 10 tracks, so that's the top 10 tracks of the year. But System is Rigged, no Sleep Token, no Lorna Shore.
Yeah, because they were a bit shit, but there we go. They weren't there, but anyway.
Really happy that my top 2 has not been mentioned so far, and it was a bit of a close call between this one and another one.
We know what it is, by the way. We know it's Architects, by the way. We know it's coming. Everybody knows what's got made the top 20. Just not what order they're in. There's no secret.
Come on,
Will. There's no secret.
I'm trying to build up suspense here. Come on, where's your showmanship?
All right, okay. Bury Tomorrow. Then, sorry, go on. So it was that on the other album, which was Architects, that could have got you wild.
Yeah, which is definitely not Architects, but yeah, it's Architects. Bury Tomorrow. I was just thinking, honestly, I'm still listening to it. That's I think the album was released around May or June, I believe. Maybe a little bit later, but summertime. Still, if you open Spotify, you get on your main screen, you get your 8 most recently listened to artists, or in my case, the 8 most recently listened to albums, because I always tend to listen to full albums, which is Pink Floyd fan things, and of course Pink Floyd being the greatest band of all time, which is not up for debate, Nigel.
I do have the power to edit, by the way, and I can hold on, let me just find out. We're X amount of minutes into the so I'll just nip in and edit that bit out, but that's fine. I won't argue with it. I'll just cut it.
I'm not gonna cut it. You're too lazy to cut it.
Go on then.
No, but yeah, that just says it all. I still listen to that album from time to time. It's amazing. And again, same with Landmarks. Bury Tomorrow is just this band that have been steadily getting better and better and better over the years. I've seen them live a few times, every time as an opening act, and now they've really hit that level of being the main act, really, and just selling out larger venues, larger being 2,000 people maybe, which is good for a metalcore band in the Netherlands. Over in the UK, people got a lot better taste in music. You're a lot more into the hard stuff. Here in the Netherlands, metal bands are a little bit less loved. But this album, front to back, only bangers. Really love it. Still listen to it. Definitely my In This Rigged System album of the year.
Trish, it's fair to say that your journey from when you first started this to hating metalcore to now loving it. Why the hell? Why? I still pinch myself, but this made your top 5, Trish.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't really listened to them before, and this album just really appealed to me. They're a local band from Southampton as well, so I'm all about supporting bands that are from our area, and yet, like Pete said, banger after banger on it. Yep. And yep, my music taste has changed, and I do love metalcore.
Will,
We got one, thanks. She's in.
We got her.
I've lost her. I've lost her. I've lost her. Will, what? Yeah, I mean, you are one of the metalcore aficionados. Didn't make Simon's top 5, but what stood out for you in terms of being a metalcore band then to make this into your top 5?
So I have liked Bury Tomorrow for a very long time as well. I saw them play 3 songs supporting Electric Callboy this year because we were so late. I saw them supporting While She Sleeps at Ali Pali a few years ago as well, and as soon as I saw them there, it was love at first sight. They're such a good band. Their songs are so cool. They have such good instrumentals. The vocals are top tier. It makes me happy, and I'm a proud little edgy metalcore boy, and I will wear that banner till I die.
Edgy,
who I am.
Edgy metalcore boy. I'm
so cool and edgy with my screamy music. Ooh.
Didn't quite go with the theme. I'm an edgy metalcore boy. Man, if you go to metalcore, you're an edgy metalcore man, not boy.
Look at his face.
Nigel,
15, he's a boy.
I'm still a man. I'm still from Surrey. Okay, there's only so much Surrey.
only so much trash talk you can do. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Simon didn't make.
Got to side with Will.
Yeah, Simon didn't make your top 5. Is it because the competition was so tough, or because they was a metalcore band for you?
My top 5 were pretty much decided like right from the start. So yeah, it just wasn't enough to be in that top 5. It was tough this year. Like the top end was really tough.
Cool. All right then. In 4th place, we move on. In 4th place was Architects and The Sky, the Earth, and All Between, which was Dom's wildcard. It was a joint 12th album of the year with a 4.5. Pete and Dom's top 3. Lauren's and Will's top 5. Pete, top 3 album.
Yep. The Architects are back, baby, and I'm here for it. They've been around for so long. I can't even count how many times I've seen them live, and they've got so many albums out that it's really just a bit like Trivium. There came a time that there was a bit of a swing and a miss sort of thing. Like they had a good album, then a bad one, a good album, and a bad one. Lately, it's been pretty bad. But then this album came around, and I'm just so happy that they're back at a good level again. Like, it's such an enjoyable album. Also, again, one that I just keep coming back to. Even this one was even from back in January all the way. And still, sometimes I put this album on because it's just so damn good. I almost put him in first place over Bury Tomorrow just to celebrate the fact that they finally have a good album again. Thank you.
Will, what's the difference between, say, Architects and Bury Tomorrow? Both in your top 5.
Architects are the people who, for the metalcore lovers, created the Blair, and that sign needs to be so. I have a bit of bias.
The Blair?
There's a thing in metalcore where they like to go Blair in the song. It's real fucking cool. No, I have a bit of bias because I was lucky enough to go to their album release show in London when the album came out, and they played basically the whole album and a few of their old ones, and so my opinion's a bit swayed by that. But honestly, there's not a bad song on this album. Whiplash, Black Hole, phenomenal tunes. Curse, Seeing Red, just every one of these. I'm pretty sure like 3-4 of these songs are in my Spotify Wrapped top tracks of this year. It's so good. He's such an incredible vocalist, and this band are honestly masters. They make me happy. I like when the man shouts.
Bad song with them. One bad song with.
Well, they didn't play the intro track when I saw them live, so it's fine. fun.
When we started
just
the
so
show,
happy.
we said that some of us stand in the shadow between light and dark, and Lauren is firmly in that shadow between liking the light and the dark music. And Lauren, this was in your top 5. What attracts you to the dark side of metalcore and more that heavier style of music with the Architects as opposed to all the other metalcore bands that we've listened to this year?
I think for me, I really like it when you hit a balance. So I often talk about bands like Bring the Horizon and stuff like that on the show, that sort of thing. That for me, I think I just love the fact that with music like that, you often get a lot that leans into it. And it's why I Prevail was one of my top albums, because you've got the balance of, you've got the melodic singing, you've got all that sort of stuff, and then the aggressive sort of screamo, blah, all that sort of stuff that is used to just punctuate the storytelling, the lyricism, how the album is produced. And I just love that. It's one of my favorite things. It's why, like, from this album, from the Architects album in particular, like, I've started going to the gym, doing all that sort of stuff, and right at the top of the list is Everything Ends. That is how I start every one of my workouts, because it's got that pace, it's got the rhythm to it, and I love it. I find music like that super cathartic. Like, I used to be one of those people where if you'd asked me 10 years ago or whatever, I'd have gone, why do people scream in music? There's no point. I don't like it. I hate it. If it's got that, I'm never going to listen to it. And sort of, I then got into it for a short period, veered away and was super into other stuff. And then went to Reading and Leeds in 2018, where the secret set was like Bring Me the Horizon and a bunch of other sort of like that metalcore style bands. And I remember listening to it and hearing how it had developed from when I was like a young teenager, where it was all screaming all the time, to this whole sort of maturing in the sound of like, here's the melodic side of it, here's all this other sort of gentle, lovely stuff. And then it's like, okay, right, now have this in your face. And I think this album is also one of those where it just sort of really lent into that. And I've really grown to love that. I really love, and I know that for some metal fans and rock fans, that makes me the world's biggest fence sitter. But hand me a cushion, because I'm going to sit on that fence, because I really bloody love this style of music. It makes me happy. I just love the fact that as well, like for you, Nigel, you can walk out of your office at work, see me sat at my desk, and I'm either there going, because it's a nice melodic bit, or I'm sat going, whilst I'm answering emails, and you're like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, she's having a nice time. It's all good.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I go, bleh.
Only if your meetings go bad.
Okay, right. Our top 3 albums of the year. So we come down to the 3 albums, which are either going to be Creeper, Linkin Park, or Those Damn Crows. So in third place for our album of the year goes to, so our top 3, which is incredible, goes to Those Damn Crows in third place with God-Shaped Hole. It was one of our joint first albums, so with a 4.8. It was Andy's top album, mine and Cully's top 3 albums, Trish's top 5, and only Will and Pete didn't give us any points. So we won't even talk to Will and Pete about it, because they've probably totally forgotten about that as well. But Cully, your top album of the year. What stood out for you on that? No, it was Andy's top album. Is your top 3, and you're on mute. Oh, you know what? We've managed the whole show with 8 people, and Cully Meister comes in with.
You're welcome. Someone has to do it. I thought I'd take one for the team. I know. You can when you edit out Pete's bit, you can edit it out as well, right?
Yeah, I'll do that. You're right.
But yeah, so Those Damn Crows, I get kind of like Lauren said, I use the phrase quite a lot, but it was the right album at the right time. It was just at the point that dropped in the middle of the year. It just worked for me. There's like 2 of the songs off the album came into our song of the year track list. No Surrender, frankly, I think was in the right place for of the two that were picked. But yeah, it's just a cracker of an album from start to finish. There's some proper relentless stuff in there. There's enough of a balance there between heavy and light to really work very well. So yeah, it just sort of did it for me. It was the right album, right time. The only reason that Dominum got higher was because when you put the two of them side by side, I think Dominum just edged it, and I've been listening to it for a bit longer. But otherwise, that was the one that did it for me.
I think for me, in terms of a balance of an album and the sound and the lyricisms, and of course they're from South Wales, from Bridgend, good lads.
Oh, hang on, but I need to change my vote then.
Too late, didn't announce that beforehand. Absolute cracker album, and we went to see them, didn't we, Trish, in Kingston a few weeks back, and they just did an acoustic set. And I have to say, in terms of sincerity, modesty, and performance, is probably one of my favourite concerts, certainly of the year, and I would put it up there all the time. I thought it was just it was just such a good concert. It was so beautiful, and the interaction with the crowd, because you see a lot of bands do it, but the combination of modesty and sincerity was just they were just so good. And the performance was just phenomenal. The Q&As, and Tricia got 2 of her questions read out. How about that? Which was amazing. So on that score, Trish, your top 5. I was expecting higher. I was expecting top 3, top album, but didn't quite make that.
Like people have said, it's up against some bloody good albums, and obviously, my music taste has changed over the years, so it's finding the balance, and it was difficult to know where to place some of the albums that, that we've listened to.
Very tough. Yeah.
Really tough. But yeah, love the boys. Made my night that night. Down the front, saw them up close. Woo, woo, woo.
Well, congratulations.
I've got to say, Trish.
Go on, sorry. Dom.
So I was going to say, I would have been there with you as well. It's just that just happened to be that month of the year, and that weekend I couldn't make it. But Those Damn Crows is one of the few albums that we've been through this year where I've actually told other people about them, and we almost got tickets to go and see the same show, but then it just turned out to be that weekend was one I couldn't make. But yeah, they just did it so well, and like Nye said, it was pretty much a complete album. It would have been really great to see them. So if they come back, back me in, please.
Definitely. I'd want to see them in full flow, not doing acoustic actually. One of the new bands that discovered that were just outstanding, absolute outstanding band. Great sound as well, so really good. Okay, we get to the final 2. Creeper versus Linkin Park. And it's closer than you think, actually. And these 2 albums were miles ahead of everybody else. These 2 were the most outstanding albums in terms of the voting. And you might shrug your thing, but to give you a comparison, mine, Trish's, and Paul's top album of the year. And it came in at the last minute. Dom and Cully's top 5 album of the year. Only Andy. So all of you give this points. All of you. Only Andy was the only one that didn't give this album any points. So that just kind of shows you, some of you might have been grudgingly points because it was better than all the other shit in there. But from your perspective, 3 people voted this our top album of the year, which is amazing. As opposed to Linkin Park, where only one person give this their album of the year, their top album, which was Will, on that score. However, saying that, Lauren and Simon and myself was in their top 3, and then myself and Simon's top 3, and then Lauren, Andy, Kelly, and Pete's top 5. Everybody give this points. Everybody give points at some point to Linkin Park. So, but it was close. It was super close because you can tell, from that perspective. And then we've just announced that Creeper doing an intimate tour, which we three of us have already got tickets for down in Portsmouth, which in April, which is super excited about them as well. So let's start with Linkin Park then, because Linkin Park was released in 2024, but it was right at the end of the year, and then obviously we started reviewing that then in January last year. So it's been one of our top-rated albums. Right from the very word go, and I actually said that I thought, right from the word go, I thought this album would be very hard to beat in terms of album of the year, because it kind of crosses all genres, doesn't it? They got the new girl singer. It's got some metalcore in there. It's got softer tracks in there. In terms of an album breaching across all genres of music, this kind of that kind of hit that as well. And yet, it's still, out of all the power metal, all the metalcore, this still stood out for you as your number one album. Why is that?
Reason one, throughout all of my life, this is a band that I've been listening to for my whole life. One of the first albums I ever owned was Hybrid Theory. I utterly adore Linkin Park, everything they've made. There's not a single track I don't like. Similar to Future Palace last year, when they first teased their coming back, and the teasers for Emptiness Machine, when that came out, it came out at a time when I needed something to look forward to and something to be happy about. So this, emotionally for me, has so much connection and meaning for me that it had to be my number one, because it basically saved me and got me where I am now. So, yeah. Also, I spent 300 quid on VIP tickets to see them this year. And dragged Sam and Andy with me.
And was it worth it?
It is the best gig I've ever been to, and the best gig I will ever go to.
Wow. Okay.
Until I spend 300 quid and see them again.
You have to say that as well. So, Simon, top three.
Yeah, I mean, there's what much more can I say? Obviously, it was a tough follow-up act after the sad passing of Chester. I don't like trying to find a replacement singer, and even I was like, when they initially released the first track with the new singer, I forgot her name. Sorry,
Emily
Armstrong.
There we go. Thank you. Even I was a bit of a hater on it, but I gave it a second chance. I let it grow on me, and I absolutely love it. I have to frame it in my mind as like it's not the Linkin Park I knew and loved. Like Hybrid Theory, one of my first ever albums, like defined my like teenage years, So yeah, this was a big change, and I think I grew a lot like listening to this album, and I really love all the tracks on it. It's such a good hit, and again, as I said, Will begrudgingly dragged me to go see them live. Oh, bastard! And it was amazing, absolutely amazing. We had such a fun time, such a good time. Yeah, they're really good. I'm looking forward to seeing what else they do now. Now they've got over this initial release hurdle, and we're kind of like okay with Emily being the front lady and stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing what else they do now.
Is she the front lady though? Because I went into expecting to be the front lady, but I think there was two front. I can't remember his name now.
It's kind of got two. Yeah, Mike Shinoda, who's the band who writes all the songs.
Yeah,
there's a lot of it, but in terms of the lead singer and the front person. It's what I said to Simon when we saw them live. It's interesting because before, on the stage, it always seemed like Chester was the one up in the front, doing a lot of one with the personality. But when we saw them, it was like a very different role reversal. Like it's Mike's very much like the person in front on stage currently, probably because of they've just gone back. They've only started touring again, so he's there to be the face of them. While people get used to Emily, then she'll start coming forward and doing more.
Yeah, I think it's a clever decision to sort of like to ease people into this transition and change, because obviously they know and everyone knows and loves Mike, and to ease into letting Emily take a role. And she did seem a bit subdued on the stage, but as you see her go on in the performances throughout the tour, she gets it a bit more into it and a bit more involved. So yeah, I think going forward we'll see more from her and a little bit less from Mike, but obviously we'll see.
I hope not, because for me the blend was perfect. I mean, it made my top three because I think the diversity of this album. I disagree with Lauren about Architects being accentuating power metal, metalcore. Now, there's a bit of clean vocals accentuating the other half, really. Whereas Linkin Park, in terms of their metalcore, and in previous renditions, they were a bit too heavy for me. This was slightly less heavy, and I think when you use metalcore to accentuate this is a prime example of that. And I think that combination worked incredibly well, and I think that the play between her and Mike was sensationally good. I think her voice is amazing, but I equally thought he was absolutely fantastic as well through the album. Terrific album, absolutely terrific. A beautiful blend of different types of genres of music, and certainly hit my sweet spot from that way as well. Other sweet spot, Cully, this also made your top 5, buddy, and it was a bit heavier than what you would expect normally for you.
So Linkin Park kind of started I started off thinking descent, but immersion into sort of metalcore, because I listened to Hybrid Theory. It was one of the first albums that I bought when I realised what music was supposed to be, rather than all the stuff I'd listened to growing up with the parents and my older brother and sister. And there is a story of my going off to uni, and my brother and sister took me shopping first, and we bought a whole load of clothes, and by the time I came back after my first semester at uni, I was back in baggy jeans, chain, all that sort of stuff, because the music won. But yeah, so Linkin Park kind of like Simon said, it's sort of the background soundtrack to the better part of most of my adolescence and early 20s. I think that, just picking up on what you were just saying around Emily and Mike, if you go back to the early videos, the stuff like Hybrid Theory, In the End, Crawling, all that sort of stuff, when you look at those, Chester and Mike are essentially sharing, and then over the course of the next few albums, Chester's personality, his voice became the backbone of it, and he became more of the front man. And I think either the same thing's going to happen, where they're going to bring Emily to the fore again, or they're going to share. And I don't know which I prefer. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I do have there's always the problem that this is Linkin Park without Chester, and it's kind of like it's the splinter. It's the splinter in the mind of just it's great, but it's not Chester. Mm-hmm. I still haven't got over that yet. I'm not hating on the fact that Linkin Park would come back, because they are brilliant musicians and they do a whole load of great stuff, and it absolutely works. But it's kind of like Queen without Freddie Mercury. Linkin Park without Chester. That's why it didn't go higher in my list. I think the stuff that I put in Those Damn Crows was just it was an album that I listened to more and more consistently through the year. Linkin Park I kept coming back to, and it's just kind of there's a nostalgia to it, and it's kind of the loss of what we had in. It's nobody's fault. That's the problem. So it's certainly nothing against Emily, Mike, and the rest of Linkin Park for continuing and doing what they do. But there is just that still the sad nostalgia of but it's not Chester anymore, is it? But still a cracking album, absolutely brilliant. It's just up against so much competition this year. But it's like saying about MPG that it's is it the same without Ian? But then we brought Pete in, and sometimes things get better.
Was that a compliment?
Sometimes,
yes, Pete, it was a compliment. Pete, it was a compliment. Merry Christmas.
Christmas miracle.
The thing is, you still managed to bring Ian back for one show, which we can't do with Chester. So,
true. Yeah, very, very, very true on that one. Pete, one of the things we've learned about you this year, despite the fact you bang on about how amazing metalcore, there is another side to you, and you've been also on a bit of a journey, and you've surprised us with some of your ratings about albums that we didn't think you were going to hate it, but you've loved it. And Linkin Park very much straddles that maybe taste in your music, really, because there's some metalcore in there as well. But this obviously made your top 5 as well. So was it as good as you expected it to be, or roughly where you thought it would be without Chester?
Well, yeah, I think this podcast really allows me the opportunity to show off my very, very eclectic taste, even though of course, I choose to listen to deathcore because it's my favorite genre, but I'm not I only listen to metal. I listen to a lot of things, and I've got a great respect for Linkin Park. They're an amazing band. Must have been both technically and emotionally very difficult for them to restart it. Big shoes to fill for the new singer, of course. Got to be very, very difficult to get up on that stage and do that. I'm happy they're back. But to be honest, my absolute favorite thing about Linkin Park is that I'm old enough to have seen them with Chester, and I get to lord that over the kids. So I just love to rub that in. But yeah, it may not be. I kind of agree with what Cully says. Like it's never going to be what it was. So, but we don't. I think we just don't have to compare it to what it was.
No.
We just got to see Linkin Park as a new entity, as a new being, and appreciate and respect them for what they're doing. And what they're doing is just laying down some good, proper music again, full of teenage angsty vibes that a lot of kids are going to go crazy off. The more crazy kids there are out there for Linkin Park, the more I get to tell them, yeah, but I saw them when they were really good, when Chester was still alive.
Angsty kids, mate. I'm coming up to my 6th decade, and I loved it. So, give me some of that angst. But
I saw them on the Meteora tour back in the day. Absolutely loved it. It was fantastic.
Lauren, also made your top 5, Linkin Park. It certainly hit your wheelhouse. I think I agree. Looking at your eclectic taste and your left hand like dark, it certainly hit your sweet spot as well.
So this came in second for me. So and it was a real tussle between my top 2. And I think sort of talking to one of my friends about it, because sort of like he was quite deep rooted in the whole controversy of like, it's not Chester and all that sort of thing. At which point I was like, oh, okay. Well, the way I like to look at it, and one of the reasons why I enjoyed the album so much is when I first started listening to Linkin Park and it was Chester, it summed up how I felt at the time. I was a very angry teenage woman, like teenage girl, angry at the world and what it was doing. And that music provided the catharsis and the way to get it out because murder is frowned upon. So it was just one of those things where it gave you that outlet. Having this period where then it can go forth, come back, and then of course we had the tragic loss of Chester, and the fact that they've then come back, I really like what they've sort of gone with, because the way I described it to my friend was Chester was for those who were angry at the world and the way the world was. Emily is for those who are angry with themselves and the way they've let themselves behave and be treated in the face of that. Because it was a sort of the whole thing with like the emptiness machine and stuff like that. Those sort of tracks for me, that sort of lit a light bulb within me, that like that moment of like, oh yeah, that's why I still like this and why it's okay for it to be different. Like, yes, it's still under this banner of this thing that this is how it is and this is what I love, but this is a really nice way to sort of develop it. So yeah, for me, the easiest way to sum it up is it was very much a case of Chester was, the world is crap, how dare it, I'm stuck in this, existence is pain, whereas Emily is very much like I'm an adult now, the world is this way, I've got to deal with it, but I don't have to let it define me, sort of thing. And I really liked that element about it, and yeah.
Well,
I really
as a
liked
Linkin
it.
Park fan, maybe that decision might cost them album of the year, whether it was first or second. We'll wait and see. So
Yeah.
let's move on to Creeper, because Sanguivore 2, Mistress of Death, let's be honest, came out of nowhere. It's an album that was released right at the last albums that we reviewed. So, caught us by a little bit by surprise in some ways. Paul, the journey that Creeper have been on, you're a fan. This was your top album of the year. What stood out for you then with this particular album, and why in your opinion is it so good?
Like you say, I've been following for a while, since COVID, with the Sex, Death and the Infinite Void album, which is, a tale of vampires and so forth, and it's been building up. And for Sanguivore last year, I thought it was a cult classic of theatrical rock, which I said at the time. So for Sanguivore 2, Mistress of Death, how on earth are they going to top it? Well, I'll bring in another guitarist, bring in an orchestra, be more over the top than they were before, and talk about. And I thought Mistress of Death, that's another vampire coming in it, but no, this was a vampire hunter that goes around with a razor wire garrote and cuts the heads off vampires and hangs them on the wall. So brilliant storyline, over the top, very theatrical, like a horror Rocky show with hell all mixed up in one. So it was a brilliant album. So how are they going to top this? I don't know. Whether they're going to go in a different direction. I'm going to try and get tickets to see him at Cardiff, and I'm extremely jealous of you three going to see him in Portsmouth. So.
Well, Portsmouth sold out, so you better be quick. You better get on there today if you're going to get tickets, because it's an intimate gig. Because they sold out Wembley, so but yeah. So.
Oh yeah, they do a hell of a show as well. I think they were at Download, and they stole the show there as well. So,
Trish, your number one album, which. I mean, I think out of everybody here, it's fair to say that you probably do have the greatest range of eclectic taste. So you've gone like from metalcore then to what is actually the most theatrical rock album of the year by a mile. What stood out for you? What stood out for you with this album above everything else this year?
I mean, just as soon as you hit play, it just hits you in the face. I love the whole the cult. When it's done really well, and bloody hell, this band. I can't really say any more than Paul. Really, to be fair, it just blew me away, and it's one you can have on repeat. It just brings you joy, makes me smile. As soon as I heard it, I was like, I need to see this band live.
Yeah.
No two ways about it. And now a dream is coming true. And again, band from Southampton.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite extraordinary. My top album, and Brothers of Metal was probably that and Linkin Park were vying most of the year. But I think Brothers of Metal because of storytelling, and bang, because I love a storytelling album. And I miss Meatloaf. I did Meatloaf. I grew up on Meatloaf. It was one of my kind of all-time favourite bands. But what stood out for theatrical rock in terms of Meatloaf was its storytelling. Its storytelling was just out of this world, really. Paradise by Dashboard Light, Would You Give Your Throat to the Wolf with the Red Roses, and it was just absolutely bad at hell. Obviously, it was just phenomenal. And then you bring this album in, which has got that elements of Rocky Horror, even a bit of Billy Idol in there at some point. The way it is kind of rock and roll singing. It just blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. The storytelling, and Paul's absolutely right. You've gone, Sanguivore was a dark theatrical gothic rock album, and you're thinking, all right, it's going to be more about vampire. But to bring in, because you think to yourself, well, Creeper are just vampire lovers. They're obviously besotted with vampires. No, they don't. They're storytellers, and to bring in this Mistress of Death that is garroting and going around killing the vampires, and do it in such a way, the musicality, the storytelling, the theatrical rock was just it was just phenomenal. And I've had this album on repeat, and it was tough because the likes of Those Damn Crows and all these albums were so good. But this, for me, like Paul and Trish, was just hit my sweet spot to absolute perfection from that perspective. It was also, Cully, it was in your top 5 as well. Dom's not here. Dom was a real surprise. I think it was in his top 3 albums, which is amazing. But Cully, this also, you're coming to watch this. This was also in your top 5. And you were a bit on the fence from what I remember when you reviewed it. So that was a bit surprising.
Yeah, I've got to confess, like you're saying, partly because it came in later in the year, it hasn't had the time to sort of dawn on me and grow on me as I listen to it more. But yeah, I think all the stuff I was saying at the time, it felt like it was a little bit silly and a bit tongue-in-cheek. But the more you listen to it, the more you sort of understand what it is they're trying to do. And I've gone back and listened to Sanguivore as well, and it feeds in quite nicely together. And then, yeah, as you said, the notes I put down at the time from when we did the original, it feels a bit like a Meatloaf tribute act with a touch of Rocky Horror Picture Show thrown in. So yeah, I think we've agreed on that entirely with it. And yeah, there's just some little elements they put into it. I think Razor Wire, one of the tracks that Paul mentioned, there's a beautiful smoky jazz saxophone going on in the background of that as well, which just kind of it just elevated that song, and so brought the rest of the album up as well. So yeah, I am as surprised, I think, that I like it as much as I do, because I didn't think I was going to when I first listened to it. I thought, oh, okay, this is what this is. But as I've listened to it more, it's one of those ones that is growing. As you say, yeah, I'm coming down to Portsmouth in April to see it. I've just been having a look to see if I can get tickets for Cardiff as well, but unfortunately I can't. So maybe, Paul, if you have any better luck, then I'll come over.
Simon, it's really funny because in the office you went, oh, well, I've listened to Sanguivore, and I went, mate, it's the Sanguivore 2, it's just got released, and you went, oh shit, I better listen to it then. Did you get to listen to it, or did you just go, it's going to be the same?
No, I did listen to it. It was like, the last minute listen, because I was like, oh, I've listened to this. And obviously I don't remember when we reviewed it, but I was like, oh, Creeper, Sanguivore, it's fine. And then you're like, no, Sanguivore 2.
Yeah, 2.
2. So yeah, I mirror a lot of what Paul said, actually. Just like, and it's that great, and it's very reminiscent of Rocky Horror Show and Meatloaf, both of which I love, and obviously both of which happened. And yeah, it's just that I don't really have much more to add on to it than any value, absolutely. Because it was cool, it was theatrical. I liked what they did. I'm interested to see what you guys think when you go see them live, because I always worry with these very story-driven theatrical bands, like how well that will translate into a live experience. Sometimes it can be amazing, sometimes it will fall flat because you don't have that same energy and vibe to it. But yeah, no, it's cool. It's a cool album. I like what they do, and I'm curious to see what story they do next. I'm assuming they're going to do something all new, all singing, dancing, and weird and wonderful next time.
Yeah, well, it's going to be quite exciting, isn't it? I think, but yeah, okay. So it's that time, and it was really close, really close, and two such different albums and two really good albums as well. Congratulations to both of them from that perspective. But the winner of the MPJ for the fourth year, this is our fourth, so the winner of the fourth MPJ award for Album of the Year goes to... We'll be back after this break now, everyone. So the winner of the 2025 Musical People and Journeys Album of the Year goes to Linkin Park from Zero. Yeah, congratulations, super close. Once again, Paul's not cheering. Always a bridesmaid, Paul, but there we go. So, on that score. But yeah, I think everybody give this album points, including Paul. Everybody give the points, and a lot of people give it a second and thirds and so forth as well. So, but there we go. Congratulations to Linkin Park, worthy winner. I think it stood out there from the very word go. So, what do you guys think out there? What was your album of the year? Let us know. Hit your likes and comments below. Thank you so much to my wonderful crew for listening, for putting the effort in, and may that continue. We will be back in the new year. As we kick off again. Ruin, bizarrely, albums have only just been released in November, December, and so it's a pretty cool lineup. And we'll be back in the new year, all singing, all dancing, new rock album review shows for Musical Producer. Thank you so much to our wonderful crew, and also to Andy and Dom who could be with us today. What a great year, and may it just be as good and tough in terms of choosing albums for next year. Thank you very much. Thank you to Paul, to Lauren, to Simon, to Trish, to Chris, to Pete, and to William. Thank you. Merry Christmas, everybody. Keep safe. Have fun. And yeah, thank you very much. And,
thank you to the majestic hosts.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And also, can we just say special thanks to Pete's jacket?
Yeah. By request.
We're waiting all show to comment on it. It's amazing. Look at it. It's a magnificent jacket.
Yeah, it is custom made. There's only one of them in the world. I had it custom made just for me in Vietnam.
Unique, just
Love
like
it.
you.
Yeah, one of a kind, Pete. Just like you, one of a kind, mate. One of a kind. Anyway, keep on rocking. Keep safe. Merry Christmas, and keep safe. And we'll see you in 2026. Goodbye. Keep rocking.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.